Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid Butt. It is the 1st of September 2025. A new month begins, but the stories keep on adding. And of course, new events keep on happening across the world. And that is what we are here to discuss with you during the course of our show. Our first story, ladies and gentlemen, today will concern the SCO summit that was held in Tianjin in China. And of course, our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif Sahab was there along with his entourage, and a declaration was also announced and signed by all the parties concerned that also endorses Pakistan's stance on terrorism. At the same time, our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also addressed the August ceremony and highlighted Pakistan's point of views on different regional and global issues. This is going to be our first segment, the SCO Heads of State Summit, as well as Pakistan's stance and Pakistan's point of view that has been validated in the declaration. Our second story concerns Syed Muhammad Ali Gillani, whose fourth death anniversary is being observed across the world, especially in Pakistan, in Azad Kashmir and in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir today. We'll be highlighting his sacrifices and the valiant work that he has done to highlight the atrocities of the Kashmiris across the world, and of course his fight for the right to self-determination for the people of illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. This is going to be our second story. Our third story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the latest as far as the flood situation in Pakistan is concerned. We'll be highlighting different aspects of that. We'll be highlighting how climate change has impacted Pakistan and what now Pakistan needs to do in order to save itself or shield itself from future events that could happen in the coming months, in the coming weeks, or in the coming years as well. Our fourth story concerns the Israeli atrocities in Gaza, and we'll be highlighting how 274 Palestinian journalists have been killed in Gaza since 2023, and this is the first as far as number of journalists who've been killed brutally by the Israeli forces is concerned. And this of course adds to the women, the children who've been mercilessly brutalized and killed and are being denied basic necessities of life like food, water and shelter. Our last story concerns the earthquake in Afghanistan, in which more than 800 people have unfortunately lost their lives. The magnitude of the earthquake was 6, and then there were aftershocks that even went all the way up to 5.2. And of course, the tremors were also felt all the way in Pakistan and in other parts of the region as well. This is going to be the lineup for today. Let's begin with our first story concerns the SCO summit, the SCO declaration that has been announced, has been signed, and our Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who was part of and heading the delegation from the Pakistani side, and also addressed the August ceremony today, highlighting Pakistan's points of views. We've been joined by Brigadier Waqar Khan Sahab. He is a defense analyst and regular on our show as well. Brigadier Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Brigadier Sahab, I'd like to begin with a declaration of this SCO summit, which endorses Pakistan's stance on terrorism. This declaration explicitly supports Pakistan's clear stance on terrorism. How significant, in your point of view, is this endorsement for Pakistan's regional and global diplomacy?
I think in terms of impact, Pakistan leadership has made an impact. And especially post, Pakistan is a very different Pakistan. I would say Pakistan entered as a peer competitor, as the stabilizer of the region. And SCO, we have seen how Prime Minister and Chinese media was very focused. And then, of course, was the joint declaration. There were a lot of perception built up by Indian media, and even I have been going there, and they were trying to basically score some brownie points, not realizing that India is highly isolated in the region. And Pakistan's stance on terrorism, including mentioning of, I think, Jafar Express and another major incident in the joint declaration, I think is a huge success. And this is a follow-up of what happened in Beijing earlier. So I would say that it's not only endorsement of Pakistan's stance, but also a very clear message to India that there is sponsorship of terrorism within Pakistan, because it's now known that Indian search and other agencies have been supporting France national operations. They have been doing it in Canada, they have been doing it in the US, and Pakistan has been, I would say, a regular victim of state-sponsored terrorism. So I'm sure there's a word of caution for India as well. Rest I think we look at the bilateral meets by the Prime Minister with the Turkish President and the Iranian President, and also opening, diplomatic, I would say, initiatives with Armenia. And I'm sure that the discussions took place the forum highlights that Pakistan has a central role to play, a very peaceful role, a positive role in South Asia. And today, Pakistan can stand, I believe it is as high, that stance on different issues have been endorsed. It also, I think, actually follows the spirit of Shanghai Cooperation Council. At times, people, just try to spin things and make it a political forum. Which is a geo-economic forum now maturing into a geostrategic forum for the global south. And Pakistan, I think, has played its role very effectively.
I'd like to understand, in the declaration, the Jafar Express and the Khuzdar school bus attacks are condemned. Do you feel the SCO has aligned with Pakistan's concerns as far as terrorism is concerned? And what message also does this kind of alignment send to countries accused of cross-border terrorism, particularly India? I'll ask you this question again, but we have to go to a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and we're discussing the SCO Heads of State Summit that was attended by our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif Sahib and of course other world leaders from the region as well. And it was also addressed by Xi Jinping, the President of the People's Republic of China. We've been joined by Mengjie, who's a reporter, joins us all the way from the CGTN in China. Thank you very much, Mengjie, to have joined us. I'd like to understand, Chinese President Xi Jinping says that the SCO now bears a greater responsibility for safeguarding regional peace as well as prosperity. From Beijing's perspective, from a Chinese perspective, that is, how is this summit expected to reshape the security and the development agenda of the organization?
Of course, since its founding, the SCO has stayed committed to the Shanghai spirit, strengthening solidarity and mutual trust, and deepening practical cooperation and taking an active part in international and regional affairs. The SCO has grown into a significant force in promoting a new type of international relations and building a community with a shared future of humanity. Now, the transformation is accelerating across the world with a marked increase in factors of instability, uncertainty, and unpredictability. So I think the SCO bears an even greater responsibility for maintaining regional peace and stability and promoting the development and prosperity of all countries. This is why I think member states are urged to contribute to safeguarding world peace and stability. With a vision for common security, SCO member states have signed a treaty on long-term good neighborly friendship and cooperation, conducted effective security cooperation, and maintained overall stability in the region. Member states should continue to uphold the principles of the alliance, no confrontation, and not targeting any third party. Combine efforts in addressing various threats and challenges, give full play to the newly established SCO Universal Center for Countering Security Challenges and Threats and the SCO Anti-Drug Center, and build a community of common security in the region and remain a force for stability in this volatile world. So I think according to experts I talked about with earlier, they believe it is a high time for the organization to adopt the global governance initiative proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping. Back to you.
I'd also like to understand this summit that was held in Tianjin. It is being described as the largest ever SCO gathering with leaders from Central Asia, from Southeast Asia and the Middle East. What does this bode as far as the growing influence of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is concerned as a platform for the global South solidarity?
Yes, I think to answer this question, we need to go back to the very beginning of the organization. Founded in Shanghai in June 2001, the SCO has expanded from 6 founding members into a 26-nation family of 10 members, 2 observers, and 14 dialogue partners. spanning Asia, Europe, and Africa, with a cooperation covering more than 50 areas and a combined economic output of nearly 30 trillion US dollars. Its international influence is increasingly day by day, and cooperation, of course, is expected to be enhanced in areas such as energy, infrastructure, green industry, digital economy, science-tech innovation, and artificial intelligence. To ensure better development of the SCO, of course, with real actions, Chinese President Xi Jinping announced that China will provide 2 billion yuan, that is about 280 million US dollars, in grant to SCO member states within this year, and issued an additional 10 billion yuan in loan to member banks of the SCO interbank consortium over the next 3 years, which I think will further benefit the organization and promote its influences.
All right. Also, I'd like to understand one of the highlights as far as this summit is concerned is the development agenda that has been developed by the SCO. Could you share some of the insights as far as this agenda is concerned, and what are the priorities that, in your point of view, China and other member states are pushing forward under this long-term vision?
Yes, of course, but allow me to borrow the content of the global governance initiative proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping during the summit of the SCO. That SCO countries should adhere to sovereignty, equality, abide by international rule of law, practice multilateralism, advocate the people-centered approach, and focus on taking real actions. I think taking China as an example, China will share the opportunities of the vast market and continue to implement the action plan for high-quality developments of the economic and trade cooperation within the SCO family. And China will also establish 3 major platforms for China SCO cooperation in energy, in green industry, and the digital economy. And we'll set up.
Wang Mengjie, we have to take a short break. We'll be back after this with you and discussing more. But stay tuned right here to PTV World. Welcome back, and we're discussing the SCO, and Wang Mengjie joins us all the way from Beijing in China, in fact from Tianjin. I'd like to understand, Xi Jinping refers to the SCO as an important force in building a new type of international relations and a community with a shared future for humanity. In your point of view, from the Chinese perspective, how does Beijing envision the SCO balancing its security role with the economic cooperation in order to achieve this vision?
Yeah, I think the best way to better balance the 2 parts, the regional security and economic cooperation, is to deepen practical cooperation while building community with a shared future for humanity. What does that mean? I think guided by leaders of the SCO member states, practical cooperation among SCO countries in economic domains has intensified, and the alignment has intensified. The Belt and Road Initiative and development strategies of various sites has been accelerated and exemplified by projects such as the China-Belarus Industrial Park and the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, alongside cooperation in emerging fields such as cross-border e-commerce, artificial intelligence, and big data, of course. Additional initiatives such as vocational skills competitions, snow football matches, and youth camps have further strengthened people-to-people bonds across the region. And on building community with a shared future for humanity, Chinese President Xi Jinping has made the use of the SCO events as a platform to call for fairness and justice in global affairs, promote a more equal and balanced multipolar world.
All right, thank you very much, Wang Mengjie, to have joined us and to have given us the different perspectives, especially from the Chinese side, as far as the SCO summit is concerned, and how important is it not only for China, not only for Pakistan, but for the countries of the Middle East and for Central Asian states as well. Thank you very much to have joined us. I'd like to understand now, coming back to you, Brigadier Waqar Khan Saab, to the declaration of the SCO summit. The declaration calls for ending double standards in the fight against terrorism. How, in your point of view, does Pakistan view this in the light of the repeated evidence against India's involvement in such terror incidents across Pakistan?
I think looking at the Shanghai spirit, and as I think was commented on by the worthy lady from China, I think this summit was off-making in the sense that it's now realizing, especially in the heart of Asia, Central Asia and South Asia, there is a need now to basically have a check on transnational aggression and state-sponsored terrorism. And I think there was a clear hinting. The other is, I think SCO as a forum also feels that SCO members should at least not be, attacking each other. And we have seen what India has done in the garb of so-called fake narrative of terrorism, and then they were blunted by Pakistan. So I think that is also very, very important, that we cannot use the military instrument through basically a fake narrative, and then basically changes the peace of entire region. Because even as the President Trump pointed out, there were things went out of control, could have been the exchange, and could have actually, God forbid, destroyed the entire region. And I would say actually SCO's region is more affected in case of any eventuality. So looking at, I think, the larger picture, Pakistan's stance on terrorism has not only been, I think, endorsed, but also highlighted. And in case the Indian policymakers have dissected the, I would say, the declaration properly, I think they understand the point. There was also, I think, mention of Afghanistan for building it up, but definitely not being used as a place for terrorism against any neighboring country, because we know that whether it was Jafar Express or it was the car attack on the two children, this was happening from Mengjie, Afghanistan, as facing, and the funding was being provided by India. And now we have a lot of, I think, hardcore evidence, even in Sindh. We have seen it in Pakistan and KP, that how multinational is this. I think complete evidence about their handlers are formed that this has now come up.
All right. Thank you very much. Join us, Brigadier Waqar Khan Saab, to defense analyst, and of course giving us your perspective and of course Pakistan's point of view as well, as far as this declaration at the end of the SCO Heads of State Summit is concerned. That validates Pakistan's point of view as far as terrorism is concerned. Thank you very much to have joined us. We have to a short break. We'll be back with more stories. So stay tuned right here to PTV World. Welcome back. Our second story concerns the fourth death anniversary of Syed Ali Shah Gillani, and of course one of the biggest Kashmir leaders in the region, who strived his entire life to fight for the right of self-determination for the hapless people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Dr. Mujahid Gillani, who is the grandson of Syed Ali Gillani. We have always had the opportunity, whenever we talk of the Indian Hill Valley, to have him as guest, and today is that occasion where there is a certain personal touch to all of that as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Mujahid Gillani, to have joined us. On the fourth death anniversary of your grandfather, Kashmir, Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, has once again witnessed a complete shutdown, as it always happens every year on his anniversary. What does this reflect as far as the enduring legacy of the Lion of Kashmir is concerned when it comes to resisting Indian occupation?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Thank you, Umar. And when we talk of this stalwart personality, of somebody who actually reigned, who actually took the steering driving seat for the freedom struggle of the people of Jammu and Kashmir for more than 9 decades, if we consider his struggle from 1929 till 2021. Today in 2025, it has been a shutdown strike in the whole of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and he has been remembered across the line. In fact, not only in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, also in Pakistan, across the world as well. There have been ceremonies, there have been events today and conferences held in the memorial of Syed Ali Shah Gillani. So for once we must understand, for once I believe we must absorb this fact that even after his departure, that even after what he has left for us, for the youth of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, as is very rightly said, that the independence movements are actually driven by the youth, their moods, what are their thoughts, and this is what Syed Ali Shah Gillani was able to do. It was not just an old man who would just go and address a huge gathering of people. It was actually the trickling down of ideas, and it is rightly said that you can kill a man, but you cannot kill the idea.
I totally agree with you on that, and his ideas still cannot be killed and will never be killed decades after his passing away, because he has left this legacy of his philosophy that continues to reign supreme within the people of the Indian Hill Valley. Syed Ali Shah Gillani Saab spent over a decade under house arrest. His passport was confiscated. He endured a lot of hardships as well. Yet he continued to inspire the struggle in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. What does this say as far as the Indian fear of his influence is concerned, even during his confinement?
That's very important, and one of the most important things that I must mention today, in fact reiterate again, is that Syed Ali Shah Gillani's stance was never a rhetoric, and it was neither accommodative. He always stood against whatever he felt was against the right of self-determination of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. So starting from 1962, if we say that's the first time that when he was incarcerated, and as we go on, almost 11 to 12 years of his life post 2009, he was kept under house arrest. And that is the time and that is the moment, in fact, when we hear him saying that this is going to be the funeral of Indian democracy. For Syed Ali Shah Gillani, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, their interest, and the most important thing, the affiliation with the religion, with the religious aspect of this conflict was very important. And very rightly he says in the gatherings that he has addressed in Jammu and Kashmir, that the relationship that the Kashmiris enjoy with the people of Pakistan, with the land of Pakistan, is purely ideological. It is not territorial, it is not historical, it's not geographical. And although it is a fact that whatever we talk about the rivers, about the winds, about the trade, but the only fact that he has mentioned about the only, I believe, I would say the two phrases that he always reiterated in his speeches was, it is the religion, it is Islam ke ताल्लुक se, Islam ke rishte se, we are Pakistanis and Pakistan hamara hai.
That is a very important slogan, and that is what I wanted to come to. We are Pakistanis, Pakistan is ours, still resonates years after his passing away. How does this powerful message also reflect the deep-rooted emotional and spiritual bond that exists between the Indian Hill Valley and Pakistan?
Once again, you must understand that who was spearheading the Kashmiri movement vis-a-vis this ideology. It was Syed Ali Shah Gillani, and it was not I would say back in 2016 or back in 2010 or 2008. That is when this Ragda Ragda and this particular slogan had surfaced up. It is actually the ideological thoughts, it is the faith, the belief, it is the construction and trickling down of all this that Syed Ali Shah Gillani managed into the youth of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. So even today, even after 4 years of his departure, the people of Jammu and Kashmir reiterate the same slogans. The people outside Jammu and Kashmir who have stakes in Jammu and Kashmir, whose relatives are still incarcerated, who still have a lot of affiliation, a lot of physical bondings with the land of illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, still say the same. And what does this signify? It essentially signifies that everybody who even had a conflict with the ideology of Syed Ali Shah Gillani, like for example Saifuddin Soz, if I may quote, he quoted and he said that it is a loss of the society of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Likewise, if we talk about Syed Ali Shah Gillani's comments, people commenting about him, we've always heard that he was always a stalwart leader with a very firm stance that could neither be tilted towards one side or tilted towards the other.
All right. And that is a legacy that will continue to prosper, to retain itself within the Indian Hill Valley, and will continue to be part of that movement that drives the people of the Indian Hill Valley to work towards their right to self-determination. And inshallah ta'ala, because of this legacy that he has left, the people of the Indian Hill Valley will attain their right to self-determination. Our next story also, doesn't pertain exactly to India, but of course indirectly related because of the flood situation, Gillani Sahab, in Pakistan, and how India has continued to, open its water gates, and the result is in front of us as far as this widespread displacement is concerned, and the deaths and destruction is concerned. But there's also another thing, another medical angle, because you're a doctor as well. I want to understand water contamination, lack of sanitation. Health experts across Pakistan warn of outbreaks of cholera, of dengue, of other waterborne diseases. How prepared, in your point of view, as a medical doctor, is Pakistan's health system to cope with this crisis?
Well, for once, Umar, we must know that India has always snatched any opportunity that it can to damage Pakistan, be it internationally on the diplomatic levels, or be it as far as the land of Pakistan is concerned. And right now we know that India has essentially released a huge level of water from its rivers, from its dams, that can essentially very much destroy the agricultural lands of Pakistan. And not speaking of the agricultural land, it's the settled villages, it's the urbanized areas as well. And it's a fact that unfortunately Pakistan's healthcare system is not very much equipped to deal with all these kinds of disasters at such a very high level. However, we must also acknowledge the fact that the Pakistani government had already made a pact with WHO as far as the cholera is concerned, and WHO has willfully stated that WHO will go to any extent to help Pakistan and its people as far as the cholera outburst, particularly vis-a-vis and the prism of floods is concerned. The same goes with the other communicable diseases, or the diseases that we consider mosquitoes in particularly, or insects as the vector, dengue itself. And we have dengue expert groups that was formed by the bureaucracy of Pakistan and the healthcare ministries as well. They're working at the lowest levels, they're working at the grassroots levels to essentially prevent dengue. The one is a treatment and the cure of it, but on the other hand, the prevention is very much important. The local BHUs are being equipped with it. The local warning systems or the remote textings are being done, and the local communication system, the local awareness part against dengue and all these communicable diseases is essentially being carried out by the government.
All right. Dr. Gillani, flood hit areas are already facing a lot of shortages as far as doctors, medicines and functioning hospitals are concerned. With immediate interventions, in your point of view, such as mobile clinics, vaccination drives or international medical support, what are the needs that should or could protect the vulnerable communities?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that apart from the government of Pakistan, the people of Pakistan and the civil society of Pakistan has always been on the forefront whenever even a smallest area, a small village of Pakistan is hit by any environmental disaster. So for this, we must acknowledge the EMTs, that is the emergency medical teams, who mobilize themselves. We also understand that even mobilized vans, that is the ambulances, equipped ambulances or mobilized clinics, they were dispatched towards these flood hit areas. I would in particular name Professor Rana Imran Sikandar of Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences in the Federal Capital, who has been very kind, not only in terms that he has allowed the employees of PIMS to go to these areas, he has also facilitated them as far as even his individual capacity is concerned.
That is wonderful. I think it is because of doctors like Rana Imran Sikandar and others that our health system continues to prosper even in desperate times such as these. Thank you very much, Gillani Sahab, to have joined us. Just stay with us for 5 more minutes till I end the show. Our next story pertains to the latest as far as the Middle East situation, with particular reference to Gaza is concerned. 274 Palestinian journalists, ladies and gentlemen, have been brutally massacred to date since the 7th of October 2023, which is the deadliest war for media workers history. Also, a flotilla, which is a Spanish term for a fleet of ships or boats, has again, left from Spain, and it's going towards the Middle East. It's carrying humanitarian aid, and activists, including the Swedish climate campaigner Greta Thunberg, to break the illegal siege of Gaza. Already, when such flotillas have happened in the past, where they have been arrested and then let go. Nevertheless, let's see what happens this time. But of course, the destruction continues in Gaza. The destruction continues in the occupied West Bank, and the people continue to be arrested left, right, and center. And people are still being denied their basic necessities such as food, water, and medicine. Last story concerns the dastardly earthquake that happened late last night in Afghanistan. More than 800 people have been killed, 2,500 injured in remote Kunar province alone. This has been confirmed by the chief Taliban government spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid, and of course the tremors were also felt all the way in Pakistan and other countries in the region as well. Our deepest condolences and our prayers go to all those who've been affected in our brotherly country of Afghanistan. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with stories sent to US and Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.